Big Mouth and welcome to the Big Mouth Daily Live. And Jason Kilar is out at Warner Media. Now, you know what I love about elites and important people and successful people? They say one thing and do the other. J.J. Abrams was never going to direct Star Wars. That's what he said. Then he directed Star Wars. J.J. Abrams said yesterday he won't direct a DC film. Probably in 2 days' time, he's going to write and direct his own Superman movie. You can't trust a word of these people, what these people say. Now, our new beloved CEO of what I'm calling Discover Warner, and this is what I think they should call it, right? Get rid of HBO Max, get rid of everything else, Discover Warner, said yesterday how much he admires Jason Kilar and Toby Emmerich, right? A few hours later, we discover from the New York Times, a very, very respectable publication, that he's negotiating his exit strategy. So it is really hilarious, right? And you know what Jason Kilar's nickname is at the Hall of Powers, the Hall of Power at Warner Media? The Smiling Assassin. So before I read the article from Screen Rant about Jason Kilar, I want to talk about this a little bit because we thought AT&T were this massive powerhouse that were going to change everything at Warner Brothers, revitalize it. It was going to be a studio to be proud of. Basically, have you ever seen Only Fools and Horses? Basically, AT&T is Del Boy and Jason Kilar was Rodney, right? So Jason Kilar looked like this really important, educated guy. He did a lot of good stuff at Hulu, apparently. We all fell for his charm, right? Smiling at the Warner Brothers towers and the historic places and the Warner Brothers Museum. But basically, it seems he was a CEO of Warner Media in name only. Do you realize how many people he made redundant under the orders of John Stankey at DC Comics? This was a company trying to do things on the cheap, basically make a big profit as cheaply as possible. And it failed and they got themselves in more debt. So this was a troublesome company that knew absolutely nothing about running an entertainment entity. They allowed Warner Brothers Pictures to carry on as normal. They fucked up the Ray Fisher investigation and they were so desperate that they released the Snyder Cut. Because let me tell you, any company involved in entertainment would never have done that. I'm glad that they did, but nobody inside of the industry was ever willing to do that and wouldn't have done it anywhere. So it's amazing. But let me just tell you about the customer. The customer should be the partner of a company, of a retail chain, of any company. You need the customer's money. So they're your partner. So you don't abuse them. I used to work on a deli counter. I used to cut ham off the bone terribly. This is terrible. Are you hacking sheep or something? In my head, I'm thinking, you fucking little bitch. How dare you talk to me like that? But outwardly, I was going, okay, ma'am, thank you very much. Please come again. And when she walks off, you fucking bitch. You can insult people when they're not looking. It's great. But when you're in retail, when the consumer is your partner, you can't abuse them. And there's too much of that going on. And there's been too much of that at Warner Brothers at all stages. The hit piece at Variety from Anne Sarnoff and her statement just before the Snyder Cut was released was toxic beyond hell. She abused an element of the customer. You can't do that. Behind closed doors, you can do whatever you want. So basically, AT&T were a bunch of amateurs, right? And got themselves in trouble. They had no idea what was happening. And even though I agreed with the day and date release, it's not something that they did for the customer. They did it out of greed and desperation. And I can assure you, David Zaslav, in the next coming days, will cancel the day and date release. I can assure you of that. Now, a Warner Media press secretary said to Discussing Film when they said it was going to be cancelled, that that's not the case. She is lying. They are going to cancel the day and date release. I can assure you of that. It's going to happen. So anyway, Jason Kilar is out. And as I say, so many redundancies were happening. And I remember, as I say, he's the smiling assassin. So I remember when he went onto Twitter and he said, it's terrible and we're so sad, putting people out of work. Couldn't give a shit, really. but he's a charmer and it worked. So now he's lost his job because, and if the guy who comes across as a nice guy is losing his job, I can assure you those people at Warner Brothers Pictures don't have a chance. Because it's interesting, we thought that Jason Kilar was on top of his field, was one of the number ones. We thought that Ann Sarnoff was the same. But these are just people that were there to make things on the cheap and talk a good game. This company is going to be gutted for the better. Now, even though the AT&T purchase was a terrible thing and it didn't improve the studio or DC, and they gutted DC as well, they made so many redundancies. Well, this guy, David Zaslav, is going to put $20 billion a year in streaming content. But that's not the end of this, because NBC Universal will merge with Warner Media and Discovery. This will make this company bigger than any entertainment media in the world, outstripping Disney. So this is very exciting because don't forget NBC Universal have got massive IPs as well. Put them together with Discovery, put them together with Warner Media. This is huge. Things are going to change. Things are going to change very, very quickly. Warner Media head reportedly negotiating exit after merger. Jason Kilar is reportedly meeting with a legal team to work out his departure from Warner Media after recently learning of the merger with Discovery by Richard Fink of Screen Rant. Jason Kilar, the CEO of Warner Media, is reportedly stepping down from the company in the wake of the AT&T announcements to spin Warner Media off to its own division and to merge it with Discovery. Kilar was one of the founders of Hulu, served on the board of directors at DreamWorks Animation, and was an executive at Amazon. He assumed the role of CEO. You see, his CV is sensational, but obviously he was just there to downsize. That was his only role at Warner Media on May the 1st, 2020, and was behind some of Warner's big decisions during the COVID-19 pandemic, like the release of the Zack Snyder's Justice League and the announcement that all of Warner Brothers films in 2021 would be released theatrically and on HBO Max on the same day. According to the New York Times, Kilar has hired a legal team to negotiate his departure as chief executive. The report states that Kilar was kept in the dark about the upcoming deal with Discovery. Warner Media is now reportedly set to be run by Discovery executive David Zaslav. While Kilar's decision to release all of Warner Brothers films on HBO Max as well as theaters might have helped films like Godzilla vs. Kong and Mortal Kombat reach a wider audience, it soured things among many of Warner Brothers' top talent. Filmmakers like Christopher Nolan, Judd Apatow, and M. Night Shyamalan have all expressed their feelings about Warner Brothers putting their films on HBO Max. Now, this is important because by sacking Kilar, they're saying to these people, it's okay, you can come back. This will never happen again. But a bigger statement would be to stop it right now. Stop the day and date releases immediately. I don't believe the Suicide Squad will be released on HBO Max. That's the feeling that I'm getting and the things that I'm being told. Things are changing all the time, as we always discuss here on Big Mouth, because this is a very interesting company, Warner Brothers. They're going through so many changes all the time because this is what happens when you're bought by a company that knows nothing. You know, they're outsiders. Now, it's okay to be an outsider who knows what they're doing and a pioneer. You know, Sylvester Stallone was an outsider and a pioneer and a revolutionary. Gave us Rocky and Rambo, right? This guy was making porn movies, right? So that's fine because he was a talented man. But these people were just hacks that came in, bought Time Warner to make a quick profit. It's seen as not only hurting the theatrical exhibition, but going back on a trust the filmmakers had with the studio, one that has always prided itself on being a director-friendly studio. Kilar kept filmmakers in the dark about the decision when many learning of the news their films would be on HBO Max, which wasn't cool, was it? Along with the public, and now Kilar finds himself in a similar position regarding his place at Warner Media. So very, very, very interesting, my friends. And, it's changing all the time. It's changing all the time. It looks like Kilar is history. And it looks like the decisions that AT&T made are going to be reversed very, very quickly. So as I said yesterday, in the next week or two, probably this week, they're going to reveal the new name, the new logo, the new branding of this Warner Brothers, Warner Media Discovery merger. I think Discover Warner is perfect. Let me know in the comments beside me. And if you're rewatching this, comments down below. Do you think my idea of calling this new company Discover Warner is a good idea? Do you think, like me, that HBO Max is actually a shit title? It doesn't tell the consumer that Warner Brothers are involved. And Discover Warner, even though Discover's at the beginning, I think it's a great name. Discover Warner, come in. Discover Warner. I think it would be great. Yes, so Kilar's out. And the question is right now, who else is out? So, you know, unpredictable, exciting times right now. Now, I'm going to have a rant because apparently Dr. Savannah, according to the actor who played him in the first Shazam film, will not be in Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods. I think this is outrageous. Why did we get the post-credit scene with Mr. Mind at the end of Shazam? Why wouldn't he should at least have a cameo, right? I don't get it. Maybe you can post some thoughts on that, but I think it's absolutely outrageous. Do you know what? I don't even know if I've put this on. Is this for kids or is this for adults? I can't even remember. This morning was a long time ago, so I don't know if you can even comment on there. Let me know if you can comment. Someone put a test comment on there, because I hope this is not made for kids. That would be a bit outrageous, wouldn't it? But we got 3 people in the chat, which is good. Anyway, so yeah, basically no Dr. Savannah. So we have got a very big week for DC, as it's been reported that we will hear something about Henry Cavill's future as Superman. Although all bets could be off now with this merger. Those plans may change. Plans are changing all the time. So yeah, very, very interesting at the moment. And people are wondering, of course, if we can restore the Snyderverse now. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what these people are thinking. But what's interesting about David Zaslav so far, he was actually talking. Was he talking on NBC somewhere? And he mentioned we've got IPs like Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman. So he's not an idiot. He knows the DC IP is one of the most important. And it's going to be interesting going forward what happens with that. Now, NBC Universal is interesting because Universal have the film rights for the Hulk character as well. Imagine that. So, as I say, some very, very exciting times. So let's see if I've got any more headlines for you here. Have I saved any more articles? There's not much else going on apart from that right now. I think the critics went to see Fast 9 and apparently they liked it. No, I don't think we've got any more headlines for you. Hang on a minute, here's an interesting one. AT&T chief John Stankey, Warner Media head Jason Kilar addressed Discovery merger in a staff memo. Now, their staff memos are full of shit. They really are. So let's give this a read. AT&T chief John Stankey, Warner Media head Jason Kilar addresses Discover merger in staff memo. In the wake of a mega deal with Discovery that seems primed to shake up the media landscape, AT&T chief John Stankey and Warner Media CEO Jason Kilar urged employees to stay focused on their jobs while they wait for the pact to close. It's irrelevant. The pact closing is irrelevant. These people are running things now. The new ownership is going to be making decisions. So the new pact, you won't get the new logos on the films and stuff. But look, they're running things from now. They're talking publicly from now. That says something. During this period, this is what they said in the memo to the staff. During this period, our direction and mission remain the same. Oh, shit. Stankey wrote in the staff-wide memo obtained by Variety, the market and product strategies underway across Warner Media are consistent with a merged post-close company. So during the review period, we will support and commit to delivering on Warner Media's full aspirations and capabilities with regards to the existing strategy and business plan. There will be no waiting on direction, hitting the pause button, or resting on our market position in the coming months. Only continued forward drive and progress. For his part, Kilar also urged that staff needs to stay focused while the companies try to obtain regulatory approval for the merger between Discovery and Warner Media. The deal comes as HBO Max is continuing to work to add subscribers to stake out a place for itself in the crowded streaming space. I want to stress how important I believe it is in this moment for us to continue to keep our focus, to live up to our potential as a team, Kilar wrote. As I shared last month in the context of our first quarter results, there is so much wind in our sails. This kind of momentum is hard earned, but easily lost. The deal will leave Discovery CEO David Zaslav in charge of the combined company. On a press conference, Zaslav has had complimentary things to say about Kilar and top Warner Media executives such as CNN head Zach Zucker and Warner Brothers chief Toby Emmerich. However, some of these executives could lose out in the merger. They will. Already we know now, thanks to a very respectable publication, that Jason Kilar is negotiating his exit deal, which he probably won't leave officially till next year, but he's done. These people, this statement is bullshit. You know, David Zaslav is running things, even though it's not official and they haven't had the permission from the government. The government will give that permission. So things are going to change very, very quickly. Shredding the media business gives AT&T greater financial flexibility as it works to expand its 5G network. The telecom will receive 43 billion in a combination of cash, debt securities, and Warner Media's retention of debt. It will also have a 71% ownership stake in the new venture, which I think they're going to sell to NBC Universal, by the way, and that's what a lot of people are saying. Merging with Discovery will give the new enterprise approximately 20 billion in combined spending firepower when it comes to producing new shows and movies. It is becoming clear that Warner Media has effectively demonstrated its right to lead in the future media landscape, Stanky wrote. However, we are now in a world where relevance and future success will be tied to greater scale and growth globally. To be one of the best global media companies requires not only broad and deep creative assets, but an investor base and access to capital to make it happen. The decision to combine Warner Media with Discovery is rooted in this conclusion. AT&T announced its purchase of Time Warner in 2016 and had to wait until 2018 for the deal to close. It's been a disruptive period, one that's seen the launch of HBO Max as well as global pandemic that's upended the film business. That's to say nothing of the layoffs that accompany these kinds of mergers. I will admit that I am personally disappointed and sad that I will not have the opportunity to continue this journey with you. Yeah, but I'm incredibly optimistic and enthusiastic about the future of the combined Warner Media and Discovery, Stanky wrote. I intend to retain every share of stock I receive in the new entity and enjoy the fruits of your continued success. Oh my God, he's just saying, I'm going to make basically slaves. I'm going to make money off of you. That's so funny. I see nothing but a bright future as the collective capabilities of the combined companies are unleashed. But basically, they've literally sold Warner Media to Discovery, haven't they? Here are the 4 memos to my Warner Media co-workers. Kurt Manchester United fan, Australia Glazer out. Message retracted. Kurt Manchester United fan, Australia Glazers out. Yo, brother, yo, bro. A few minutes ago, we announced our intent to merge Warner Media with Discovery, with the new company post-close being led by David Zaslav. Even though there has been recent press speculation on our future, I suspect today's news is a bit surprising, which is why I'd like to share how we arrived at this decision. First, this opportunity is afforded and necessitated by the success of a challenging and hard-fought evolution underway at Warner Media. And it's a credit to your hard work since 2018. We have embraced how customers are experiencing entertainment and media and have worked to shape new business models. It is becoming clear that Warner Media has effectively demonstrated its right to lead in the future media landscape. However, we are now in a world where relevance and future success will be tied to greater scale and growth globally. To be one of the best, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, we've read all of that. So, basically, that's that. We've read most of that already. But basically, AT&T have sold out to Discovery. It's looking that's the kind of thing, and these people will just be shareholders. And this is why David Zaslav is running the whole thing. And as I say, you can expect wholesale changes very, very soon. Now, what does this mean for DC Comics itself? And I'm talking about the comics, not the films at the moment. We will cover the films. We will cover the TV shows. We will cover the current plan. This means you can expect David Zaslav to reanalyze what's been going on there. Kilar basically downsized DC Comics. You can see now with David here, you can see the reverse. He will invest more money in the comics because the comics are the advertising, are the marketing for the movies and TV shows. You need the comics to be strong. You need people to come in for the comics and get excited for the comics, to be excited for the movies and TV. It only makes sense. Kurt, Manchester United fan, Australia Glazers. I think 3-0 Manchester United, brother, tomorrow morning. I think we won't win. I think we will. And you know, you've got your receipts here. I think we won't win another game this season, but we will see. Anyway, I'm not feeling good about Ollie right now. That's why. Hopefully I'm wrong. And so DC Comics will have a more heavy investment put back into it. See, Discovery are a very wealthy company talking about 20 billion investments into their streaming plan already. And I'm not saying they're going to put that much in DC Comics. That would be ridiculous. But I definitely think they're going to up the investment in DC Comics. It's important to gain confidence from the consumer. And unfortunately, TNT haven't done that. Sorry, AT&T haven't done that. TNT, getting confused there. So there's that. So if you're a comic fan and you're a fan of the DC graphic novels, expect better comic book people, maybe some comic book people that will let go will come back as well. These are going to be the good times for DC fans. Now, of course, there's a multiverse strategy right now. There's a plan to release at least 3 DC TV shows on HBO Max, and nobody knows what's going to happen and what's not going to happen now. So obviously the Flash movie is rebooting the universe. We don't know if it's deleting the Snyderverse. So if David Zaslav had any ideas or plans or wishes to restore the Snyderverse, you would imagine that he would, if that film is deleting anything he doesn't want deleted, that film would have to be rewritten very quickly. Maybe not halted, but rewritten very quickly. And maybe production on certain sequences would have to stop. So I don't know. As I say, you may as well say David Zaslav is running things now. Not officially, but the guy's talking like he's running the place already. So that tells you something. AT&T weren't like this. They didn't know if they were going to get government permission. David knows they're going to get government permission. So this is a very interesting new normal. We last week we had no idea this was going to happen. Now, they were talking up there about how well they've done with Warner Media and they're making profits. They're making money because they pretty much, this is the thing, the Snyder Cut made a lot of money for them. The day and date release was very good to uptick HBO Max. But let's look at HBO Max as a streaming service. It launched a year too early as far as I'm concerned. They had very little original content, no DC original content, and their Friends reunion was put back by a year. You know, ridiculous, right? And probably it was a mistake not to make the Friends reunion an actual drama, a scripted thing where they're acting and they're reunited. I think it's just interviews and looking back. That's what I think anyway. So, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing that. But I think you're looking at a new company. HBO Max will be rebranded. The company, of course, is a new company because it's merging. And this NBC Universal merger, which I think is going to happen, which makes things a lot huger, is very, very interesting. I think Zaslav will still be in charge of the whole thing. So, you know, these are very interesting times. If you're interested in Warner Brothers, if you're interested in their IPs, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs and new people will come in. Now, will we get a new DC president, DC Movies president? Well, that's very interesting. Will they give Walter Hamada the chance to see if he knows what he's doing, or is he out already? It gets interesting. You can't sit here and say Hamada's safe, but you also can't sit here and say he's not safe. It's going to be very interesting how this guy Zaslav sees things. So he'll be analysing things all the time. He was very quick to say that he wants to support creatives. So without saying he doesn't agree with the day and date release, he doesn't agree with the day and date release. And as I said on the top of the show, I expect that day and date release thing to be abolished very, very quickly. So Suicide Squad fans, Bobcat, who's not around, must be in bed by now. I'll see you tonight, Bobcat, on the live show. But I would imagine you won't be able to see the Suicide Squad on HBO Max. I think the day and date thing will be cancelled very quickly. It's just the feeling I get. So everything is up for grabs, but you know, the bloggers, the media didn't know about this. That's how huge this was. So there were a few rumours, obviously, that nobody believed. Now, I apologise to the journalists from the day dot when AT&T took over this company. They were saying they were debt-ridden, they were desperate. I say, no, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just jealous because Warner Brothers are going places now. And, of course, I was wrong. Maybe I should listen a little bit to people, right? Maybe I don't listen. Who listens too good? How can I listen with a voice as loud as this? So I'm absolutely stunned to my very, very core. What's happened in the past 24 hours? It changes everything. It changes the future of DC. It changes the future of their other plans. What happens next? I would like to look into a lot more of David Zaslav and what he's done over at Discovery and see what kind of man this is. But he seems very ambitious, although he would have to talk a good game at the beginning. But then I didn't see Stanky talking this ambitiously. Talked a good game, but if you look at DC, what changes have been made to DC since AT&T have taken over? None. They've just kept Walter Hamada there, right? I think Walter Hamada got there just before the AT&T purchase, I think. And we carried on with Shazam and Aquaman and Joker. But the franchise hasn't been revitalized. We've been plodding along. Aquaman, Shazam, you know, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 84. A couple of those were very disappointing. But this guy, I believe, is going to revitalize things. He's going to look at all of that. So everyone working at DC and Warner Media right now, they will be under the microscope. But I don't think he's going to analyze the people there. He's going to bring the best people. So I don't believe that. I like Walter Hamada and I respect his talents, but he's not the best DC Films president you can get. So David Zaslav will bring in the best DC president, right? He will bring in the best filmmakers, the best directors. And saying that he wants to support creatives when asked about this day and date release, he's screaming to Christopher Nolan, don't leave us. This is brilliant if you're a Christopher Nolan fan like me. Now, I didn't appreciate some of the things he said about Jason Kilar, but surprise, surprise, Jason Kilar's gone straight away. I would imagine that Zaslav was told Nolan will not come back to WB unless Kilar is gone. But surprise, surprise, Kilar is now gone. So I believe that that's very exciting. By the way, there's more news about buyouts, nothing to do with WB, but it looks like Amazon Prime have bid for MGM. Now, of course, this is very important because MGM own the Bond IP. So Bond could be going to streaming very soon. That's interesting because someone has to save Bond, and it'd be interesting to see what they do with Bond. But streaming services just buy up properties and let other people make them. So it will be concerning. It's the same with Netflix. The only difference would be you'd be watching Bond on streaming. Maybe they'd release it in 500 movie houses like they did with Army of the Dead over at Netflix. But yeah, so that's the news coming in. Amazon are after MGM. So I think everyone is after MGM. So it'll be interesting. If I was Warner Brothers, I'd swallow that up. I'd swallow MGM up. I'd merge with, Universal. Is it Universal NBC or whatever they are, right? I would do that merger because this company is going to get huger and huger with the right guy now running them. So exciting times. So the incompetence of AT&T has led us to a better place. And so this is amazing. What happened? Of course, the focus of most of you watching today is not on the business side, and I'm not interested in the business side. I don't really understand it, but I think in layman's terms, they basically sold out. They sold Warner Media to Discovery. Simple as that. And they talk about mergers. Merger is a nice way, of saying we've sold out. Now, Stanky said he's going to keep his shares, right? Well, I believe every percent of that 70% of AT&T share will be sold to NBC Universal. So he's saying I'm gonna stay here and get the fruits of your hard work. Wow, I couldn't believe he said that. Basically, keep working for me, bitch, and make me loads of money. These elite business people are the fucking worst, though, aren't they? They really are. But yeah, so things are happening very quickly over at Warner, and as I say, big changes to come very, very quickly. And I did say I don't know if Walter Hamada will keep his job. I don't think that he will. I don't think that he will. If I'm honest, I was trying to be a bit reserved. I don't think Hamada's going to keep his job. I don't think Embrecht's going to keep his job. I think they're all out over there at Warner Brothers Pictures. I think that whole cover is done. I think they are done. I think a lot of people are done at Warner Brothers now because this is about a guy bringing in the best people that he can. So this is like Iger when he first came to Disney. This is a revolution. This is, David Zaslav is going to bring the best DC president, movie president, the best leader at DC Comics. It's interesting that they put Uncle Jim Lee in charge of everything, but is kind of a comic book artist the right person to be the DC executive officer? He's not a business person. He's just that nice face. That's all they did. He's not really running anything, is he? So I think Jim Lee will probably lose that position. That's interesting. But they'll find that. I think they'll find a job for him somewhere else so he's respected. And basically, he was always there on an interim basis as well. So I expect Jim Lee to be removed as the head of DC. I expect Walter Hamada to be removed and replaced very, very quickly. That's interesting. That's a destabilization of this multiverse strategy and where they're going to go. So what they're doing with these current films is quite important. How are things going to change, very quickly? Well, they could bring in different filmmakers very quickly as well. And what about this big J.J. Abrams deal? Notice how sheepish he was about doing DC stuff. It's almost like now that merger is happening, maybe his little deal with Warner Media isn't very safe. Maybe David Zaslav, is thinking of bringing in other people. I don't know what's going on, but J.J. Abrams is a bullshitter. He said he wasn't directing The Force Awakens, then he was. So he still could direct this and write a Superman movie. No question about that. So if you've got any questions for me about this and what's going on and what I think is going to happen next, hold on to your horses. Hold on to your skirts, boys and girls, because things are going to happen, and they're going to happen now. Not tomorrow, not in mid-2022, when this is rubber stamped. Things are going to happen and change now. There is no question about that. You can expect it now. Some of the changes will be shocking. Some of the changes you may not like, and some of the changes you will celebrate. I don't know what those changes will be. Well, I have spoken about Hamada and Jim Lee. I think they're history. As I say, even the Walter Hamada job seemed like a temporary cheap move. And Hamada makes films on budget, but there wasn't ambition there, was there really? And even the multiverse strategy sounds ambitious, but what were they going to do with it? That's the interesting thing now. So, and Ann Sarnoff's an interesting one. So, they can say, and funny, he didn't mention Ann Sarnoff either. Ronnie Dodge, hey mate, morning Ronnie, we're just talking about the future of Warner Media and this Discovery merger, and this is what I want to call it. This is what I want them to call it. Discover Warner. What do you think, Ronnie? Discover Warner. So I've been reading the official notes that were given to the workers of Warner Media by Jason Kilar and John Stankey. He claims he's not going to sell his shares. I think he will sell his shares to NBC Universal, which makes the Warner Discover Warner company, as I'm calling it right now, even more powerful. And I'm saying a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. And I don't really think anyone at Warner Brothers, I think he's not looking, I hate you, you're shit. I think what David Zaslav's thinking is there are better people out there to bring in. I can bring in the best DC Films president. I can bring in the best DC executive officer. Thank you, Jim Lee, but you're done now. We'll give you a nice little position. Sam Dejan reviews. What does this mean for the future of DCEU, the DCEU? Sam, it means everything's going to change, my friend. Everything's going to change for the better. You're going to look at a company that respects you, the consumer, that's going to bring the best people It's going to do wonderful crossovers in your DC films. It's going to do wonderful movies. It's going to give you a bit of everything. This is a new company. This is like when Iger took over Disney. This is exciting. There will be huge acquisitions being made all the time, and you will be excited to be a DC fan. So the plans for the multiverse strategy, they're up in the air now. Nothing is certain, nothing is secure, and things are changing all the time. So I think that Walter Hamada will be replaced at DC Films president. I didn't think that a day ago or so, but I think that now, especially with what's happening with Kilar. I think that Jim Lee's out as well. And I think we're going to get new executives. He's going to bring in the best people. He hasn't just bought this thing. He hasn't just sunk his money in David Zaslav for nothing. He wants to make a giant here. He wants to create the biggest media conglomerate in the world. He wants to crush Disney, right? And if he brings in NBC Universal, he's going to do that. So he wants to, DC is the biggest franchise they have. They've got Harry Potter. These are important things. If they bring in NBC Universal, for Christ's sake, they've got Star Trek. So very, very exciting times. But the DCEU is not certain anymore. I don't know what direction they're going to go in. They're going to go in a successful one, but one that the fans want, right? In all ends. And, as I say, if you're a fan of Zack Snyder, I think, if you're a fan of Zack Snyder, you've got more hope than you had 48 hours ago. Ronnie Dodge, it makes me nervous they're going to cancel the Flash movie. What I think may happen, Ronnie, with the movies that are actually active right now, I think there may be major rewrites, which is a bit worrying in itself, isn't it? Would they, after investing all that money, I think if he's going to, for example, if David Zaslav wants to restore the Snyderverse and they're deleting it, that's problematic, isn't it? So, yes, this is a big takeover, Ronnie. This is not what I thought it was 24 hours ago or 48 hours ago, that everyone was just going to continue as usual. Literally, AT&T have, sold Warner Media to Discovery. So they're huger than they were 48 hours ago. But also, my friend, this is an ambitious company that wants to make the best changes, that wants the best people at Warner Brothers. As the DC film president, right? Walter Hamada is a talented guy, but he's not the best that you can get. And, if we're ambitious for DC, we want the best. And so I think David Zaslav is that ambitious, and I think he will bring the best. So, as I say, hold on to your skirts, boys and girls, and everybody else, because changes are afoot. So, yes, I'd be nervous about Flash. I said to you not to be yesterday, but I think the way I'm looking at things now, they are looking to make wholesale changes. So, very, very interesting times, everyone. And I think by the time I come back tonight for the Big Mouth Live, or Big Mouth Live, makes more sense, doesn't it? I think I'll have more changes to report, because it's changing all the time. This is like being on a DeLorean going 100 miles per hour before it goes into another timeline, right? So I'm excited for this. I'm interested in this, and I think we are going to get decisions we've been dreaming about all of our lives. These people, AT&T and Walter Hamada, were making DC properties on the cheap. Ronnie Dodge, I don't think it's fair on Andy and Barbara, but let's see where it goes. Well, you see, Ronnie, when these takeovers and mergers happen, it's never, ever a good thing or a fair thing for the people that are there already. It's not their fault. But luckily, they're probably wealthy people and they're doing all right, and, they'll get other work. But as I say, I'm not saying that they're going to destabilize the Flashpoint for sure or cancel it. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know, but I can't sit here and just say nothing's going to change like I was saying yesterday, because clearly from what these people are saying, they're going to revolutionize Warner Media and Warner Brothers Pictures. They are serious. This is a different game now. This is not going to be the mediocre average company we've been slaughtering for the past 2 decades. This is finally a company that we're going to be proud to support. And, DC projects that we're going to be excited about, because the DCEU has just been staggering since Snyder was removed. We had the Justice League flop. We had Aquaman, which was good. We had Shazam, which was good. We had films like that, but we had Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 84, and, lots of underwhelming projects and nothing exciting to look forward to. So, and although I've been excited for Flashpoint and these 4 movies, were the plans to have an integrated shared universe, or was the point of the multiverse strategy just to delete Snyder? These are things that we don't know. I'm hoping, if they do keep with this, that the plans were ambitious to create an interconnected universe, because we need that, or we can't compete. DC can't compete with Marvel. And they want to compete with Marvel because this is a business. For us, it's entertainment, but to them, it's a business, and a very important business. So for their business to succeed, they have to excite us. We're the customer. The customer is their business partner. So you can't keep on pushing away from the customer, from the fans. So even though I agree with you, Ronnie, that it's not fair on Andy and Barbara if their film gets kind of kiboshed or sidelined or postponed or whatever. Let's see. I mean, they're working very hard as we speak. Nothing's happened yet. But as I say, changes are afoot all the time. And I can say nothing more clearer than that my attitude yesterday is different to my attitude today. Today, looking at everything, it's clear that this is a revolutionary move. This is new ownership for us. Make no mistake. Do not be distracted by the word merger. Warner Media are merging with Discovery because Discovery have bought Warner Media. Now, this is not the language being used, but as I did yesterday, I'm putting it to you in layman's terms, that Stanky and AT&T from mid-2022 will have nothing to do with Warner Media. They are getting rid of that company because they ran it into the ground, they sucked it dry, and they sold it off. That's because they were desperate for money. Basically, as I said, AT&T is Del Boy, and Jason Kilar was Rodney. And basically, as they call him at Warner Media, Kilar is the smiling assassin, whose main job it was to sack people and create redundancies all around. So these people look like ambitious, professional people, but what they were creating was problem amongst problem. I stuck up for them when they did the day and date release, but ultimately it wasn't good because they knew the people working in Hollywood were never going to go for this. And maybe their die was cast from then. I expect, I don't know if you were here, Ronnie, earlier when I said it, but I expect the day and date to be abolished very quickly. I expect the Suicide Squad not to premiere on HBO Max. So we'll see what happens there. They're denying all of this, of course, but I expect David Zaslav to be running things as from now, even though he won't be officially in control till next year. He's talking a lot. He's on broadcast news in America. He's pretty much acting like he's running the thing already. So it looks like these decisions are coming now and coming thick and fast. And even though Kilar and Stanky said it's business as usual till next year, it is not. It's absolutely not. That's just the bullshit they have to put out there to calm, basically, the Wall Street, the stock market. They need to steady the ship for themselves. But, these people are bailing on Warner Media. Make no mistake about that. So Stanky's saying he's sad that he's not going to be involved with Warner Media anymore. If you were sad, mate, you wouldn't be selling out. You sold out, right? You didn't do a good job, and you're leaving. So that's how that is. Anyway, any more comments? If you haven't got any more comments for me, I'm going to wrap up today's Big Mouth Daily Live. It's been another great show. Kurt, Manchester United fan, Australia Glazers out. Manchester United favourites to sign Harry Kane. What do you think, brother? I'm 35% now. Right, let's discuss this before I go, actually. So hold your horses. Don't go yet. Looks like you're still there, although sometimes it delays from saying that the people in the chat have left. Anyway, I was shocked to my core yesterday to find out that Harry Kane has told Tottenham he wants out. So is Harry Kane a mercenary that's going to go to Manchester City or Chelsea, or does he want to go to a real club like Manchester United? I don't know. He could be going anywhere, and there's no point. And also, this school of thought coming from these elite kind of speakers for Manchester United and football, that if we buy Kane, we won't be buying in other positions that we desperately need. Bullshit. The Glazers are rattled. They have to spend this summer. They have to. So I think this could be a very exciting summer for Manchester United. And we're certainly one of the clubs in with a chance of getting Kane. The problem is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's not the type of manager you run past Pep and the Chelsea manager and Klopp to get to and sign for. That's the problem here. So changes are going to be happening. Very exciting. Shocked that Kane has officially said he wants to leave. Says a lot about his loyalty, but he has been at Tottenham for many years. He's a great striker, but I'm not sure if I rate him as highly as other people. So we will see, Kurt, where Harry Kane will go. Harry Kane, 150 million, brother. Well, English players are always more expensive than foreign ones. Is he worth it? I personally would be the better investment. Apparently, what's their name? His club have said they're not interested in selling this year, but I reckon for the right price, they would sell. They are sellers. And it looks like we're going to get Sancho as well, but who knows? We thought we were going to get Sancho last year as well. So very exciting. Joel Davies, Alisson is a better striker than Kane. Do you know what? I haven't seen enough of Alisson. I've seen Kane a bit. He's a good physical player. He's okay. He can score clearly. I don't know. I prefer Haaland. I would want Haaland at Manchester United over Kane. And I don't think signing an expensive striker will stop us from buying other players because the Glazers are on a charm offensive now. They have to spend and spend big, and maybe that will calm some of the Glazer out movement as well. It's going to take a long time to regain that trust between owners and fans. Not that regain the trust was never there, was it? So, yes, Joel, very interesting times. Who could get Kane? Maybe Liverpool will get Kane. We don't know who's going to get Kane, but he's on the market. It's been announced, but will Tottenham even let him go? Because last year they didn't, and they promised him this year they'd let him go, but maybe they'll find a way to persuade him. Maybe he's told them that so he can get more money. So nothing is cemented right now with that, and we will see what happens. Anyway, like, share, and subscribe. I'll be back tonight with Big Mouth Live. Kurt, Manchester United fan, Australia Glazers out. Maybe Manchester City, brother. Maybe they do need a forward. So, yes, he could be a mercenary and go there. I'm just not sure if this guy is the player everybody thinks he is. So unless there's anything else, I'm going to wave goodbye now. I'm going to give you a few seconds just in case. As I say, like, share, and subscribe. I'll be back tonight with Big Mouth Live, and we're going to have a lot to talk about, I suspect. So until then, I will see you then. Big Mouth Live, 6 p.m. UK time tonight. Keep it here on Big Mouth to get the heated debates, the big news. This will be the place to be. And this time next year, I reckon this channel is going to be up there. And I want you to come with me. Until tonight, see you later. Remember, all day, I'm over on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. So come over on at Movies TV Mad on Twitter and keep an eye on what I'm doing. And we can have a laugh and banter. And don't forget, I'll be back here tonight, 6 p.m. UK time. I will see you then. See you later.